What is going on, you guys? My name is Rage and we are back today with an update video here on the incursion rates here for 2.2, but as well utilizing the Pegasus team for respectively the tech nodes. Now I want to make a video on this because this is relating to the new nodes, but finally got some footage of all three nodes getting played with this team. And the great news is you don't need to have even this team in this high end of a raid to actually be doing exceptionally well. So I'm going to go through all the characters, guys, but overall in total team power we're looking at less than 1 million here, and they're able to get the job done in incursion rates 2.2, which is exceptional value, especially if you guys are looking to build up this team and trying to save some gold. Well, guess what, you don't need to bring them up to, you know, gear tier 16 or 17 plus and beyond. Really, it's having a strong Kestrel. As you can see, get everything being maxed out. She's likely going to be a Dark Dimension 7 lock character. I think the second most important obviously is Rescue, having the supportive capabilities, the revive, but even with her, she's only gear tier 15, level 80, and then everybody else, guys, respectively tier 14, level 75. So exceptional value. You can save a lot, and again, these guys can perform in all of the three nodes for 2.2 incursions. Let's get right to it, to the gameplay footage. Now, Bifrost can also be very similar, but I mean, this team just does so good at this high end of a level, and it's really because of Kestrel, right? You want to be landing her special in that right side where it does hit, you know, Spider Weaver and Gambit. I think they're definitely the two pain targets that we want to be aiming for. Activating the ultimate here now on Iron Man, you should be able to use the pinged attacks from Kestrel, and that should actually finish off at least one target for now. We combo that with MK2's ultimate, and it's just spreading the debuffs. Just beautiful synergy, right? We have Rescue clearing the debuffs as well on our side and giving us the barrier, and really makes a huge difference maker. You can see landing the blind thanks to Iron Man on Gambit was honestly one of the reasons why we mitigated damage. And before you know it, the right side's cleaned up, and we just have this cleanup cluster here with the Black Panthers, Dazzler, Noir, and just going through the motions here. We want to be aiming as well, guys. You want to take advantage of all the defense downs you have, because obviously Kestrel has the pinged attacks. I slotted her in with an ISO 8 Raider, so just the pinged attacks can cure really good, especially when you're comboing that up. Now, not usually an issue in this final wave because I don't really worry too much about the abilities, but you do want to make sure that your cooldowns are going to be good for the next node. Even though this node is probably the easiest one out of the three, you just want to make sure you're not blowing all your abilities, because remember, we do need to keep some of these to start off with the same kind of strategy in the next node. So I think Sunfire is a good one to target, especially if you have a Dazzler kind of out of commission there. And then the Black Panthers are going to be good because they can do damage, but overall they're all just damage dealers. They don't really have any supportive allies here, especially once you take out Dazzler there and making sure that she doesn't actually use her buffs. So yeah, we just go ahead there, guys. And the nice thing about this team is really good energy management as well. Even if you use some abilities up to the last couple of enemies on this wave, you're gonna be able to build that up, and you should be getting to a point where you're able to use just basic attacks, and then the pinged attacks actually are gonna be really good enough just to finish them off here. So you can see the Black Panthers actually ended up being at the very end here, but again, Iron Man having the turn meter rewind, and now we're just using the basics and the pinged attacks from Kestrel to finish this off. Easy does it here. Okay, so with node 2 here, it does start off harder than the node 1 because we do need to be more careful. Our attacks are controlled in the left side there because we have a double taunt coming with Absorbing Man. So we really have to just try to see if we can land as much as we can. And sometimes I do fail this node because of the debuffs not landing, and that's kind of where, you know, having a lower level team like myself can play a big factor. As you can see, right, we tried to land the stun, we were only able to get one enemy stun there, and now we're going to try another transfer with Iron Man. And that's the beauty of this team. There's just so many debuffs happening that we can actually afford to make mistakes. Thankfully, you can see that there was a blind that landed on Cloak there in addition to Sunfire, so that helps us out for sure. Phyla-Vel is a good one to target in the beginning, but if Cloak has the blind, you know, you're really protected for a little bit, which is awesome. And we're going to be focusing on Phyla-Vel and making sure that we just try to control her with the cleanse, right? And once she's ability block, my goodness, it's pretty much smooth sailing in this initial wave until the Omega Reds arrive, and then we just need to obviously focus on them and try to control them as much as possible. So looking really good here. Not really an issue whatsoever after you have them controlled, right? And And the nice thing is once these debuffs land, it's pretty much where you can snowball. But again, you still need to be cautious of who you're targeting, just because these enemies can hit hard. They're scaled a lot higher than us. 4x our combat power level, so we do want to be very, very cautious. But once you're able to get those some defense downs, again, we're spreading debuffs, and honestly, we're just really going through and trying to make sure that we control as much as possible, which is great with the pinked attacks. Our buffs are making us stronger than we should be. And at this point, yeah, now we can just focus on the Omega Reds. One of them is blinded, so I would focus on the one that does not have debuffs. So you're trying to take one down ASAP, or at least trying to ability block, so that way they don't get their abilities off. They can hit like a truck if they do. But thankfully this is pretty consistent strategy because of the debuffs that land, especially with the defense down. That makes it even easier for these debuffs to stick. So we're in a good spot. But remember, you always want to manage your cooldowns, and not try to use every ability that you have up until the end of the node, because we do need some of these abilities for the last and final node here for the boss node. So now Omega Red should be one of the last couple ones, so we should be able to ideally focus on him. And looking pretty good here. You should be able to basic him down, especially with Iron Man's turn meter rewind. We're in a really good spot, and just essentially just trying to slowly take him down. But you can see even time recording only takes a couple of minutes. I don't know if this team can sim, to be honest, just because it's still a little manual, but thankfully it only takes a couple of minutes to play it. And it's actually a pretty fun play too, this team. Okay, here we go. Final boss node here, just to wrap things up. And pretty business as usual as well. I'm glad to see that it wasn't too much more difficult than the previous two nodes, but again, it's gonna be similar, just making sure that we're managing the waves. I like the special on the right side just because we take care of some more higher end damage dealers, especially Sylvie and Sunfire. Taking them down, or at least controlling them, is very advantageous for us. Our stun actually landed right on Madame Pryor and Sylvie, which is really good for us. And again, we're gonna let Kestrel's passive pings do all the work, and just cannot state this enough how important she is as part of this core and engine of the Pegasus team. It would not be possible if we didn't have the raw output that we're getting from her, but as well just her being able to be in that center, taking all the damage, and giving Rescue a fighting chance to actually revive whenever there is an opportunity. I think Cosmo's a good one, because you can see on that left side the strifes with Korgs aren't going to be doing much damage to us. So really at this point we're just trying to take down that wall of tanks. But thankfully, like I said, we were able to land that stun on Sylvie, which helps us a lot, because if she were able to land her debuffs and strip her positives, I can definitely see this node being trickier if that actually does come to fruition. Thankfully it doesn't. So the passive attacks do finish off Sylvie. That's going to spawn the next wave. And a main reason why I focus on Cosmo, right? Because in that way, she won't be having this synergy with Infinity War Thor here, in addition to the Korgs that can come back. So we're looking pretty good here. Yeah, honestly, just a very tanky wave of enemies. And there's not really many damage dealers. So goes without saying, Infinity War Thor is definitely a target with the amount of raw damage he can provide. But thankfully, he's a slower character. So you're able to, get through these wave of enemies and then finally reach them afterwards. That wave of tanks finally left here. We got a Shang-Chi, Dazzler, Infinity War Thor that we do need to focus on. The Squirrel Girl also got spawned as well, so it's just something to be mindful of there. And we're looking good, guys. We want to be able to spread these debuffs again. Love Darkhawk's abilities to be able to do that. And we are going to be focusing, just try to, combo our attacks. Again, there's just taunts that we have to get through that we don't really have a choice. So it's going to dictate how you attack. But having that mentality and making sure you're focusing on those key enemies when you can, and doing really well, especially with the debuffs that get landed, right? So this node does actually feel at times easier than node 2, just because we're really dealing with just tanks and trying to get through the odd damage dealer here and there. But it's pretty smooth, as you can see. Timing is also a couple minutes just to play it, and it's a nice amount of points that we get added to the score as well. So you can see here at this point, it's just gonna be Dazzler and security, not an issue whatsoever, guys. So hopefully this can demonstrate for you how amazing and exceptional this team is at such a low level, in my honest opinion. So if you guys are trying to min-max, trying to save some resources, know with confidence that Pegasus can fully operate. This is Incursions 2.2, so obviously there's one more higher than this difficulty, but you can see they're blowing past these difficulties for these new raids here and doing well at low levels. So thankfully that still holds true. Yeah, let me know what you think in the comments below, guys. Do appreciate your time as always. Thank you, and I'll catch you guys in the next one.